Funk wasn't just a genre, it was a movement, a strut, a sound that made hips sway and speakers sweat. But over time, some of the funkiest tracks got buried under playlists, remixes, and nostalgia. Today, we dig them back up, dust them off, and remind the world why they still slap. These are the funk songs that absolutely deserve a comeback. Number 1, Slide, Slave, 1977. You can't talk about funk without talking about the bass line. And Slide by Slave delivers one of the nastiest grooves ever pressed to vinyl. From the moment it drops, you feel it in your chest. A rubbery, hypnotic line wrapped in horns, wah guitar, and pure attitude. This wasn't background music, this was the kind of track that commanded movement. Slave came out of Dayton, Ohio, same as the Ohio Players, and Zap, and Slide was their debut single. It hit number 1 on the R&B charts in 1977 and made a serious dent in clubs across the country. But somehow, it vanished from the mainstream conversation, overshadowed by bigger names despite that unmistakable groove. In a world craving rhythm and authenticity again, Slide deserves a fresh spin, not sampled, not remixed, just played loud and proud. Number 2, Holiwood Swinging, Kool and the Gang, 1974.
I remember not too long ago.
Before Kool and the Gang were known for wedding anthems and smooth ballads, they were pure, unfiltered funk, and Holiwood Swinging proves it. Released in 1974, this track was a swaggering, horn-blasted celebration of ambition, style, and street-level cool. From that first brassy burst, you're hooked. Then comes the groove, slick, bouncy, and absolutely impossible to stand still to.
To get into a band, to sing my song.
The lyrics? Simple but confident, a kid dreaming of stardom. The beat? Tight, punchy, and instantly iconic. It hit number 1 on the R&B charts, became a staple on Soul Train, and helped solidify Kool and the Gang as funk royalty. But here's the thing, most people under 40 have no idea how funky this band was before Celebration. Holiwood Swinging deserves to rise again, not as a throwback, but as a reminder. Funk wasn't always polished. Sometimes it gritted its teeth and danced anyway.
What you got to say? Say hey, hey, hey.
Number 3, Give Up the Funk, Tear the Roof Off the Sucker, Parliament, 1975.
Better rip off the sucker. Better rip off the coat. Better rip off the mother sucker. Better rip off the sucker.
This wasn't just funk. This was a declaration of war on silence. With Give Up the Funk, George Clinton and Parliament didn't ask you to dance, they commanded it. Released in 1975 as part of the iconic Mothership Connection album, this song wasn't a hit. It was a movement. That unforgettable bass line, the deep group chants, the warp synthesizers, it was outer space and underground all at once.
You got a real type of thing going down, getting down.
We want the funk, gotta have that funk. You've heard the line, sampled 100 times, but the original, it's still the rawest, loudest, and most unapologetically funky version. This song tore up stadiums, shook car speakers, and gave birth to 1,000 imitators. It reached number 5 on the R&B charts and became the centerpiece of Clinton's sci-fi funk revolution. And yet, it's not nearly as present in today's playlists as it should be. Funk this powerful should never fade quietly. It's time we tear the roof off the sucker, again.
You got a real type of thing going down, getting down.
Number 4, Fantastic Voyage, Lakeside, 1980. This track didn't just funk, it invited you aboard. Fantastic Voyage by Lakeside is one of those rare tracks that turns every living room, car, or dance floor into a party bus headed straight into the funk galaxy. With its bouncing bass, shimmering keys, and that signature chant, "Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage," it's more than music. It's a celebration in motion.
Long and ride on a fantastic voyage.
Released in 1980, it topped the Billboard R&B charts and became Lakeside's signature hit. The group had been grinding through the 70s, but this was their breakout, infectious, joyful, and unapologetically funky. But despite being sampled by Coolio and still played at backyard barbecues, the original version rarely gets its flowers anymore. This track deserves a comeback, not just as a nostalgic bop, but as a reminder that funk was about escape, joy, and movement. And few songs deliver that better than this one.
On this vessel, we wanna take you on a cruise.
Number 5, Dazz, Brick, 1976.
Everybody go on a dance if you want to.
You ever hear a song and instantly go, wait, what is that? That's the magic of Dazz, a delicious mashup of disco and jazz, hence the name, Dazz. Released in 1976 by Atlanta-based band Brick, Dazz hits you with a slinky bass line, bold brass, funky clavinet, and that signature talkbox vocal. Everybody go on and dance if you want to. The song reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the R&B charts, blending slick musicianship with straight-up funk attitude. And here's the wild part. This wasn't a group of pop stars. They were jazz players who decided to get funky. Dazz is one of the cleanest genre benders of the decade. Tight, smooth, and seriously underrated today. You don't hear it in commercials, you don't see it on funk playlists, but man, it's still a vibe. It deserves a second life, because once that groove kicks in, you remember, funk can be smart and sexy. Number 6, Get the Funk Out Ma Face, The Brothers Johnson, 1976. First of all, what a title. Get the Funk Out Ma Face wasn't subtle, and it wasn't trying to be. Released in 1976, this track by the Brothers Johnson was a pure slap in the face of boring music, and it still hits like a brick wall of bass and attitude. Produced by the legendary Quincy Jones, the song is built on a ferocious groove. Louis Johnson's bass is outrageous, slapping like it's trying to start a fight, while George lays down razor-sharp guitar licks that cut through the mix. It didn't dominate the mainstream charts, but it tore up the R&B and funk scenes, and made the Brothers Johnson one of the most respected duos in funk history. This track doesn't show up in feel-good playlists or wedding DJ sets, but maybe it should. Because sometimes you don't want polite, you want bold, loud, unapologetically funky. And this song, it kicks the door in and dares you not to move. Number 7, Boogie Nights, Heatwave, 1977. From the very first second, Boogie Nights lets you know this is no chill track. This is pure disco funk ignition. Released in 1977 by multinational group Heatwave, Boogie Nights was a wild, shimmering explosion of strings, synths, and rhythm that felt like it was produced on another planet. And in a way, it was. The brains behind the track? A young Rod Temperton, who'd later write Rock With You and Thriller for Michael Jackson. But before he changed pop history, he helped craft this top 10 US hit that sounded like a Saturday night in neon. The groove is tight, the falsetto is sharp, and the orchestration is so over the top, it shouldn't work, but it does, gloriously. Boogie Nights was the ultimate pre-club anthem, the song you blasted while getting ready to shine, and it still has that power. Yet somehow, it's barely remembered today. This one doesn't need a remix, it just needs the volume turned back up.
Got to keep on dancing, keep on dancing. Got to keep on dancing.
Number 8, Shake Your Rump to the Funk, The Bar-Kays, 1976.
Just let the music make you high.
The title tells you exactly what to do, and you better listen. Shake Your Rump to the Funk is a no-nonsense, groove-drenched command from the Bar-Kays, a band that started as Otis Redding's backing group and transformed into one of the hardest-hitting funk outfits of the 70s. Released in 1976, this track isn't fancy, it's filthy, with a driving bass line, sharp horns, growling vocals, and a beat that just won't quit. It peaked at number 5 on the R&B charts, and in clubs, it tore the roof off. But like many deep funk tracks, it never crossed fully into the mainstream, overshadowed by disco hits and softer soul ballads. Still, real heads know this is one of the purest dance floor weapons of the era. It doesn't need a revival trend. It is the trend waiting to be unleashed again. So, shake your rump to the funk. Seriously, do it.
We hit the groovy soldiers. Everybody party.
Number 9, Flashlight, Parliament, 1977. This wasn't just funk. This was sci-fi funk warfare. Released in 1977, Flashlight is Parliament at their weirdest, wildest, and funkiest. It didn't just use synthesizers, it weaponized them. That wobbly, bouncing bass line, it's not a bass guitar. It's Bernie Worrell on a Moog synthesizer, and it redefined what funk could sound like. The groove is hypnotic, the vocals are surreal, and George Clinton, he's not just singing, he's preaching from the mothership. Flashlight was Parliament's first #1 R&B hit, and it stayed there for 4 straight weeks. It became the anthem of the P-Funk movement, bold, electronic, and light years ahead of its time. And yet, outside of funk circles and crate diggers, it rarely gets played today. That's a crime. Because Flashlight isn't just funky, it's revolutionary. It deserves a comeback not just as a jam, but as a blueprint for future sound.
Oh, you gon' get off your ass tonight.
Number 10, Stomp, The Brothers Johnson, 1980. If ever a song lives up to its name, it's this one. Stomp, by the Brothers Johnson, doesn't tiptoe onto the dance floor, it explodes. Released in 1980 and produced by the legendary Quincy Jones, this track is a thunderstorm of funk, disco, and sheer celebration. From the first thump of the bass drum, you're not walking, you're stomping. Louis Johnson's slap bass is outrageous, practically singing its own melody. The synths sparkle, the horns stab, and those gang vocals shouting "stomp" all night. They hit your brain like a disco defibrillator. Climbed to #1 on the dance club chart and became a roller rink and block party staple. But today, you almost never hear it, which is wild because it's one of the most joyful tracks of the funk disco era. Stomp wasn't just a song, it was a mood, emotion, a reminder that funk didn't always have to be gritty. Sometimes it just had to make you feel alive. And there it is, 10 funk tracks that deserve a second life. These weren't just songs, they were vibes. Sweat-soaked, bass-heavy, horn-blaring moments in time that made you move without asking permission.